There's a quiet danger that many kidney patients don't realize hides in their kitchen. We've all been told to avoid too much salt, maybe cut back on sugar. But here's the twist. Some of the very vegetables that the world calls superfoods can quietly push your kidneys closer to failure. Spinach, for example, looks innocent on a salad plate, but for someone with high creatinine or reduced kidney function, it can turn into a hidden villain. And here's the mystery that we'll uncover together. While some vegetables can damage, others, like a humble cauliflower or a crisp red pepper, can actually protect your kidney and slow disease progression. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Vital Science for Seniors. For over 15 years, I've walked alongside older adults navigating kidney disease. Today, I'll show you 4 vegetables that help heal, 6 that quietly harm, and 1 simple daily habit that may change everything. If I could choose just one vegetable to place on the plate of every kidney patient I've treated, it would be cauliflower. Not because it's trendy, not because it's flashy, but because it quietly does what your kidneys desperately need: reduces the burden. When your kidneys are under stress, every bit of extra potassium or phosphorus becomes a weight they can't lift. Too much potassium and the heart can skip or stall. Too much phosphorus and the bones thin while calcium gets deposited in dangerous places. Cauliflower steps in as a gentle ally. It's naturally low in both minerals, meaning it doesn't force your kidneys into overtime. Yet it still gives you what your body craves: fiber to keep your digestion smooth, vitamin C to guard against infection, and compounds that help your liver process toxins so your kidneys don't have to carry the load alone. I remember Mr. Alvarez, a retired teacher who came to me frightened by his rising creatinine. He loved mashed potatoes, but every serving pushed his potassium too high. When we swapped them for mashed cauliflower, he laughed at how similar they tasted. A small change, but his labs improved. And more importantly, he felt less bloated, more energized. Cooking matters too. Steam it, roast it, even rice it. Just avoid drowning it in salty sauces. In its simple form, cauliflower can be one of the kindest gifts you give your kidneys. Cabbage is one of those vegetables that rarely gets the spotlight. It's inexpensive, it doesn't demand attention, and yet for kidney patients, it may be one of the most dependable companions you can place on your plate. What makes cabbage so remarkable is its low potassium content. For someone with kidney disease, potassium can become a silent threat. When the kidneys can't clear it, it builds up in the blood and begins to interfere with your heart's electrical system. Some people feel nothing at first, and then suddenly they're in the hospital with dangerous arrhythmias. Cabbage gives you all the bulk, the crunch, the nourishment, without adding to that risk. But that's not all. Inside cabbage is a compound called sulforaphane. Think of it like a shield for your kidney cells, reducing the damage that constant filtration stress creates over time. Studies funded by the National Institutes of Health have shown sulforaphane can lower inflammation markers, giving your kidneys a chance to rest instead of always fighting a fire. I once had a dialysis patient, Mrs. Leonard, who was desperate to keep fiber in her diet but couldn't tolerate most leafy greens. Cabbage became her salvation, lightly sautéed with olive oil and garlic. She told me it not only soothed her digestion, but also gave her the comfort of enjoying a hearty vegetable again without fear. Keep it fresh, skip the salty sauces, and cabbage may just become your kidney's quiet protector. Red bell peppers bring something that kidney patients often miss: flavor, brightness, and joy on the plate without the penalty of high potassium or phosphorus. For many of my patients, one of the hardest parts of a restricted kidney diet is not just what they can't eat, but how bland food begins to feel. Red bell peppers change that. These peppers are naturally low in potassium, making them safe even for those with advanced kidney disease. But their real magic lies in the antioxidants they carry. Vitamin C in peppers acts like an immune shield, something you especially need when your body's natural defenses are weakened by high creatinine and reduced kidney function. Vitamin A supports vision and skin, 2 areas that often decline quietly with chronic illness. Then there are compounds like beta-carotene and capsanthin that fight inflammation, the kind of hidden inflammation that slowly damages kidney tissue over time. I recall a gentleman named George, a retired mechanic on dialysis, who missed the color and crunch of fresh vegetables. When he tried sliced red peppers as a snack, he grinned like a kid. It feels like I can eat normal again, he told me. That emotional lift matters as much as the lab results. You can enjoy them raw in salads, roasted for sweetness, or blended into soups. Just avoid pickled versions packed with sodium. Let the pepper's natural brightness do the work. It's flavor that heals rather than harms. Turnips may not be the first vegetable that comes to mind when you think about kidney health. In fact, many of my patients initially wrinkle their nose when I suggest them. But once they give them a try, they often discover a secret weapon for protecting their kidneys without sacrificing taste. Turnips are naturally low in potassium, which makes them a safer alternative to potatoes. For someone with kidney disease, this is no small detail. A single baked potato can overload the bloodstream with potassium, but a serving of turnips delivers comfort without that danger. They also bring fiber to the table, supporting digestion and helping your body clear waste through the gut rather than forcing your kidneys to do all the heavy lifting. There's another hidden benefit. Turnips act as a mild diuretic. That means they gently help your body release excess fluid, something that can make a big difference for patients struggling with swelling or water retention. I think of Helen, a retired nurse in her 70s who felt constantly bloated and tired. We added roasted turnips to her dinners 3 times a week. Within a month, she noticed her rings fitting looser, her ankles less puffy. I didn't realize food could feel like medicine, she said. Enjoy them roasted, mashed, or stirred into soups. Just avoid heavy creams or butter. Prepared simply, turnips can restore both comfort and confidence to your meals. Spinach wears the disguise of a health hero. It's praised in fitness magazines, blended into green smoothies, and celebrated on almost every superfood list. But for someone living with kidney disease, spinach is less a friend and more a silent saboteur. Here's why. Spinach is loaded with oxalates, natural compounds that latch onto calcium in your body. When they meet, they form crystals, and those crystals can become kidney stones. If your kidneys are already weakened, those stones not only form faster, but also do more damage. Even cooking spinach doesn't reduce oxalates enough to make it safe for regular use. The second problem is potassium. Spinach carries far more than your kidneys can comfortably clear if your filtration is impaired. Potassium that lingers in the bloodstream disrupts the rhythm of your heart, turning what seems like a healthy salad into a potential medical emergency. I remember a patient, Angela, who was diligently adding spinach to her morning smoothies because she'd heard it was detoxifying. Her creatinine climbed, her potassium spiked, and she ended up in the ER with a dangerously irregular heartbeat. She couldn't believe a vegetable had done that. But once we replaced spinach with cabbage and peppers, her lab stabilized. Spinach may be celebrated elsewhere, but for kidney patients, it's a wolf in leafy green clothing. Tomatoes feel like home. They sit in sauces simmering on the stove, brighten up salads, and seem harmless enough. But for someone with kidney disease, tomatoes carry two hidden burdens: potassium and acidity. First, potassium. Just half a cup of tomato sauce can deliver more potassium than many kidney patients are safely allowed in an entire meal. Fresh tomatoes are high, but when concentrated into paste, puree, or sauce, the load becomes overwhelming. And unlike excess water or sodium, your kidneys can't simply flush this out when they are impaired. The potassium builds up silently in the blood until one day the heart begins to skip, flutter, or stop. Second, the acidity. Tomatoes naturally contain acids that can irritate the stomach lining and, more importantly, stress already sensitive kidney tissue. For patients on dialysis or those with high creatinine levels, that irritation can worsen fatigue and nausea. I recall one couple, Mr. and Mrs. Patel, who came to me heartbroken because every family meal seemed to center around tomato-based curries. When we found alternatives, using roasted red bell peppers to give sauces color and depth, they were amazed at how satisfying the dishes still felt, and his potassium levels finally began to drop into a safer range. It's not about losing tomatoes forever, but about recognizing they are not the innocent staple they seem. For your kidneys, restraint is protection. Potatoes are comfort on a plate, mashed with butter, baked until fluffy, fried into golden fries. They're woven into our childhood memories and daily meals. But for kidney patients, this comfort can quickly become a curse. One medium baked potato carries more than 600 milligrams of potassium. For many people with kidney disease, that's more than their entire daily allowance in a single serving. The danger is that potassium doesn't cause immediate discomfort. You don't taste it, you don't feel it at first. It accumulates quietly until suddenly your heart rhythm is thrown into chaos. Some patients try leaching potatoes, soaking them in water before cooking, and yes, that lowers potassium a little, but not nearly enough to make them safe as a daily staple. And the real problem worsens with how we prepare them. Frying adds inflammation. Mashing often means loading them with salt, cream, or butter, each an extra burden on kidneys already struggling to filter. I'll never forget Robert, a retired firefighter, who insisted he couldn't give up mashed potatoes. But after a scary hospitalization for high potassium, we switched him to mashed cauliflower. I thought I'd miss them, he admitted, but this feels lighter and safer. That one change helped bring his potassium back under control. For kidney health, potatoes aren't harmless comfort food. They're a risky indulgence best left behind. Beets are often marketed as a miracle root, boosting circulation, improving stamina, even lowering blood pressure. And while some of that is true for healthy individuals, for those with kidney disease, beets can be more dangerous than beneficial. The first issue is oxalates. Beets are packed with them, and oxalates bind with calcium to form crystals. Over time, those crystals become kidney stones, and if your kidneys are already under pressure from high creatinine or reduced filtration, stones can accelerate the damage. The second problem is potassium. A single cup of cooked beets carries more than 500 milligrams, and juicing them only concentrates that load. Beet juice, which has become trendy in wellness circles, is especially risky. It delivers a surge of potassium straight into the bloodstream, far more than compromised kidneys can clear. And finally, beets contain high levels of natural nitrates. While nitrates may help healthy blood vessels relax, in patients with chronic kidney disease, they can interfere with filtration and contribute to fluid retention. That extra fluid puts more strain on the heart, which is already working harder when kidneys are failing. I remember one of my patients, Samuel, who drank beet juice every morning, believing it was protecting his heart. In reality, his potassium skyrocketed, and he ended up feeling more fatigued and swollen. When we stopped the beet juice, his energy slowly returned. Beets may look vibrant and healing, but for your kidneys, they're a hidden danger. Corn is woven into so many parts of our diet. Corn on the cob at barbecues, popcorn at the movies, tortillas at dinner, and even hidden in processed foods as corn syrup or additives. It feels like one of those safe, neutral foods. But for kidney patients, corn often carries more risk than reward. The first concern is phosphorus. Many canned or frozen corn products are preserved with phosphorus-based additives. These additives are much more easily absorbed than natural phosphorus, and they can send phosphorus levels in the blood soaring. That extra phosphorus pulls calcium from bones, leaving them weaker, and deposits calcium phosphate crystals in the blood vessels, hardening arteries and raising heart risk. Corn is also harder to digest for people with kidney disease. The husk and starch can leave patients feeling bloated or uncomfortable, particularly when fluid restriction is already in place. And processed corn snacks, like chips or popcorn, are usually loaded with salt, a direct enemy of kidney health and blood pressure. One of my patients, Maria, loved her nightly popcorn ritual, but her blood pressure refused to budge, no matter how carefully we adjusted her medication. When she switched from salty popcorn to fresh apple slices, her blood pressure readings began to improve, and she felt less thirsty at night. Fresh, organic corn on the cob in very small amounts may sometimes be safe under a dietitian's supervision. But for most kidney patients, corn is best treated with caution, not as a staple. Avocado has become a symbol of modern health. We see it mashed on toast, sliced into salads, blended into smoothies. It's creamy, nutrient-rich, and often celebrated as a heart-healthy superfood. But for kidney patients, avocado is one of the riskiest foods you can eat. The main reason is potassium. A single avocado can contain over 700 milligrams, sometimes closer to 1,000 depending on its size. That's far more than most kidney patients can handle in an entire day. Unlike sodium, which may cause swelling you can see and feel, potassium overload creeps in silently. It stays in the bloodstream, and when levels rise too high, the heart rhythm becomes unstable, leading to palpitations, muscle weakness, and in severe cases, cardiac arrest. There's another subtle issue. Avocados are often eaten with added salt, lime juice, or wrapped in salty dishes like guacamole with chips. That combination only multiplies the stress on kidneys that are already fighting to keep balance. I remember George, a 68-year-old retired teacher, who proudly told me he had switched from butter to avocado for better health. His intentions were good, but his lab results told another story. His potassium levels were dangerously high, and he was constantly fatigued. Once he gave up avocados and replaced them with lower potassium foods like red bell peppers and cabbage, his energy returned. Avocados may be a superfood for some, but for kidney patients, they're a silent trap. Every morning, before the rush of the day begins, take just 15 to 20 minutes for gentle movement. Simple stretching, slow walking around your home, or light yoga. This isn't about burning calories, it's about circulation. Movement wakes up the lymphatic system, helping your body clear waste more effectively, easing the burden on your kidneys. It also lowers blood pressure, improves oxygen delivery, and starts your day with clarity and calm. Pair it with a glass of room temperature water, if your doctor allows, and you've given your kidneys the best possible start to the day. So here's what we've learned together today. When it comes to protecting your kidneys, food can either be your shield or your silent enemy. Choose the safe vegetables: cauliflower, cabbage, red bell peppers, and turnips. Avoid the risky ones: spinach, tomatoes, potatoes, beets, corn, and avocado. And don't forget the power of gentle daily movement to keep your circulation strong and your kidneys supported. I'm Dr. Brian, and here at Vital Science for Seniors, I believe every choice you make is a step toward living longer, stronger, and more free. Your kidneys deserve that protection, and so do you.